Hey guys, welcome back to Auto Technic. Today we're back on the E39 M5 and we're going to be addressing the leather. We're going to see if that LEATHERIQUE leather treatment is really worth all of the hype. Alright guys, so I finally got to give this stuff a try and see if it's worth all the hype. You can see here that I did not really invest in a very large kit. I just went with the smaller 8-ounce bottles just to see if it's really worth the hype. You can do a lot of reading on the internet. A lot of people just absolutely swear by this treatment. They will swear that this is the end all, the be all, and they'll use nothing else. And there's a whole nother side of people that argue that leather like this is treated or top coated, therefore this product will not soak in and does not do what it claims, and that this only works on untreated or uncoated leather. Now you guys can see that my M5 is equipped with what I consider to be the best and only interior option for an E39 M5, which is the extended leather option, which either came in Napa Black or the caramel or caramel, however you prefer to pronounce it. And for me, this is what makes this car. I don't have as much of a bias on exterior color on these cars. It all comes down to the interior. I just absolutely love these interiors. And I would say that this one is in probably above average condition. It's in really good shape. You can see back here on the back seat, there's very little wear. There is some wear marks on the front seats, but that's not really what I'm trying to address. This car's seen infrequent use over the last 15 years. It's a relatively still low mileage car. It's always kept inside. And my main concern is conditioning this leather. So I want to get this leather back to being soft, because if you run your hands, say, on this back seat, it is very, very stiff and hard. Obviously, the driver's seat's pretty good because I'm getting in and out of it and driving the car. We're going to go ahead today. We're going to see if this LEATHERIQUE is worth the hype. I'm going to go ahead and probably just focus on getting on these two front seats. If I have some extra product, I'm going to work it on the back seat. Today, I just want to see if this is worth the hype and show you guys that, you know, have an E39 with the caramel interior, to see what this is going to do. Really just give you a first hand if I think it's worth it or not. I'm going to shoot you guys straight. So I have quite a bit of wear on the driver's front seat, so we're going to see how the LEATHERIQUE will affect that. If it does any damage, if it helps it, if it hurts it, who knows. So as I mentioned, I ordered the smaller 8-ounce kit. That's clearly not enough to do this entire car because it's extended leather. So I have the leather dash, lower dash, center console, full door panels, front and back the seats. I mean, even the visors are leather. That's not going to be enough to cover all this. I'm really just going to focus on the two front seats and the back seat if I have enough product. I want to see if this product actually works before I commit and do this process to the entire car. And I also expect to need a few applications if this does work. So I'm starting on the areas that are the worst, that see the most wear, which is the seats, because they kind of need a head start on everything else. Now, it's really hard to tell on camera, but these seats, the leather is really stiff, especially on the bolsters. So like if I push it, you can see that it doesn't really conform. In a small area, it kind of bends the whole thing down, and it's really tight and stiff. You can see down here on this bolster, it feels so much better because people getting in, they're kind of moving and working that leather. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. It really comes down to leather or even like rubber door seals on a car, is when you don't use a car frequently, you're not sitting in the leather, you're not opening and closing the door. When you do that, open and close the door or sit in the leather, it's moving the leather, it's moving, compressing, releasing the seal, and that works all the natural oils and solvents in those items, and that keeps them fresh. So if you actually just let a car sit and you're not using it at all, say the passenger seat in this car, nothing really works that stuff in and really, you know, works it together and lets it move about, and it actually makes it worse on the car. So with the LEATHERIQUE, we're attempting to go ahead and reverse that process by using this rejuvenator oil. We're going to go ahead and liberally apply it on all the surface of the seats, back seats, wherever I can. I'm going to use the entire bottle. We got a good warm day today. It's going to be high 80s. I got the car outside. Luckily it's black. I'm going to keep it sealed up. I'm just going to let the heat just infiltrate the inside of this car. Let these seats soak up and soak this oil in and see if it softens up these bolsters. Now, one thing that I want to... Ooh, there we go. So that was one of my concerns right there, is I just went and poured some onto the seat right here, and right where it has the wears in the leather, where that top coat is coming off, it got a lot darker. That's where this is going into the natural leather. So that's one area that I was concerned with this caramel interior, is how it's going to respond to that. So you can actually, this is really showing where that top coat is getting really thin. Actually, I'll have to show you guys in a bit the camera when I'm done rubbing this in, but it's really highlighting that weak top coat. So hopefully when this is all said and done, that does not remain. Kind of why I'm doing this video for you guys. I'm sure most of you that have the caramel interiors that we all know is a very high wear and tough interior to upkeep, to see how this ends up working out in the long run. So I'm gonna keep applying this and I'll bring you guys back once I get it all on. All right guys, got one coat on the entire front seats, front and back, and the back seats. Of that 8-ounce bottle, I used probably 3/4 of it. I'm gonna leave that quarter of that bottle to come in and recoat those seats as it soaks in during the day. But during the process, I saw something that I found pretty interesting. I wanna show you. Now, if you look carefully here on this seat, hopefully this shows up on camera, but you can see faintly here, it's darker. So obviously we can see where it's really dark, where all those cracks were on the top coat, but this whole section right here, once I put that oil on, it got really dark. Not as dark as it is in a crack, but that area got dark. I'm hoping that shows up for you guys. What that tells me is that oil made the leather really, really dark where there was no top coat left and it was raw leather. On that area where that top coat was lighter, it still got a lot darker. That's telling me that the oil actually is able to penetrate through that top coat, get into the leather, and do its job. So I think that's one of the biggest debates about this product that you see online, is whether it can penetrate a top coat and whether it's worth it or not. So we'll come over here, look at the driver's seat, which is much worse, and it really highlights where it got into that raw leather. And you can see all this down here, it's quite a bit darker. So I'm hoping that that will lighten back up and we'll come back to the normal color. But for now, we got one coat on everything. I need to go ahead and get the car sealed up, let it bake into the sun. I'll come back periodically, add a little bit more where it seems to kind of soaked in more. And really, the true test on this is the ultimate effect it has on the color in the end, and is it gonna soften up the leather. So I'm gonna continue on with this process. I'll bring you guys back for updates. We'll see if this works or not. Okay guys, it's been sitting out in the sun for about 3 hours. I did throw a thermometer in so we can see what temperature we have in here. Let's take a peek, and you can see that it cleaned up real nice. That real dark area, pretty much you can see it's going away. It still has some oil on it. It definitely does feel better. It does feel softer. Let's see how hot we are in here. 107. So it all is it's kind of a sticky touch to it. So I do have a little bit left here in this bottle. I think I'm gonna go through and focus on getting more on these seats. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of this rejuvenated oil onto the leather, let it soak in tonight, overnight, and into tomorrow. Then tomorrow we're gonna go ahead and get it pulled off, and we'll be able to see what our final product looks like. All right guys, so this is day 2. It's a bit warmer today, so I was checking in here earlier and we were hovering around 120, 125 degrees, and you can see that it's soaked all that oil in pretty well. There's still a little bit of shininess up top, a little bit more in the passenger seat, but quite the difference. So I am out of time to keep letting this soak and bake in the sun, so I need to start working to get it off. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the windows down, try to get the heat out of the car, get my supplies, and we'll start seeing how this stuff comes off and hopefully see what the finished product looks like. Okay fellas, it's about a week post leather treatment, and I really wanted to give the car some time to sit and be sure that everything really evaporated out of the seats, dried up, to give us a good representative or idea of what the actual finished result is. So I'm happy to say that after a week, there's no odors in the car, nothing abnormal at all, and the leather is absolutely softer. For me, I got all the evidence I needed that this does actually soak through and penetrate into the leather by the dark spots that it left on the areas where the top coat was worn thin. But I'll have to show you guys, it did end up, the final product, it did kind of highlight those dark spots and they're more prominent. So run up here on the bolster. So beforehand, they just kind of had a white haze where all these cracks were. Now it's much darker. And same thing down here, you can just see, like especially these areas, they just show up more. But the leather itself, it is a lot softer. I only did 2 treatments to it. Probably going to come back more in the future and put more treatments. I mean, this worked well enough where I'm definitely a believer. It is absolutely worth it. I know that it cosmetically, the leather probably doesn't look much better than it did because now it shows those worn areas. But I can tell you, for me, I kind of view this leather restoration as 2 parts that need to happen. I need to get the leather soft and all the oils back into it. And obviously it's cracked, the top coating's given out. I'm gonna have to get them recoated down the road. And I rather get the leather taken care of, like the structure of it, so it's healthy and doesn't crack, rip, or tear. And then down the road, I'll go back and address the top coating, which will eliminate that problem and get it all looking just as good as new. We'll give you a shot of the driver's seat here, and you can see what I'm talking about, where it does, you know, it looks a little bit worse than it did before with the darkness. I guess that's subjective to a degree. That's why I let it sit for a week. I wanted to be sure it wasn't gonna just evaporate out and eventually go away, but it seems to be pretty consistent. Although I'm noticing just now that this is getting a little white like it used to be. So possibly for me getting in and out of the car, because I've been driving it this week, starting to reduce that, and it may go back to where it was. Either way, I'm completely happy with the result. I'm fine with that. I kind of figured that the darkness where the top coat was worn through quite a bit was a possibility, and I was willing to take that risk. So if you guys have a different type of leather or a light leather like this that's worn, if you're gonna do this treatment, just be aware that might happen. For you guys watching that have a E39 M5 with this same caramel interior, now you know exactly what can happen and what your results are. But overall, very happy with it. It was, like I said, definitely worth it. It's a lot softer. You can see back here on the back seat, looks really good, very little wear back here, and it gave all the leather that nice kind of satin shine. It got rid of that real shininess that it had in certain areas. So like I said at the beginning of this video, I only had 8 ounces. That was enough to give me 2 coats on both front seats, the back seat, and I did sneak a little on the steering wheel, and I was out of the rejuvenator oil. I used up about half the bottle of the pristine clean, cleaning all of that off, and then I let it sit for a day or 2, came back again with the pristine clean, gave it another wipe down, and I have just a little bit left in that bottle. So it's almost kind of a 2-to-1, where I really only needed maybe 4 ounces of the pristine clean and 8 ounces of the rejuvenator oil. I'm definitely going to go through and get the rest of this leather taken care of, especially the dash, door panels, shift boot, all these other items. So I'm going to get another order of that stuff coming in, get that taken care of down the road. I'm probably going to order a little bit less of that pristine clean than I will the oil. They'll allow me to get those extra coats of the oil in and soak in. I just don't think I need that much pristine clean. Anyways, guys, that's the rundown. That's my experience with this LEATHERIQUE. I really do like it. I do think it is worth the hype. So I just wanted to thank you guys for stopping by the channel. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the support. We'll see you on the next video.